I don't respond to with Vaughn. He's talking, go get your gun. You hear me? I'm not... Neff, let me just tell you something, okay?
What's up, though?
I'm an old school nigga, man. All right? We don't say what we was gonna do on the internet and all that type of shit. Like, that's kids. You know what I mean? Like, if you was gonna do something, you would have done it. Don't, you know. So Neff, that's rap music, man. You know,
that's like
rappers make rap music. Rappers make rap music, man. That's all it is, man. It ain't nothing, man. I don't feel no type of way. You can't make me feel some type of way mentioning my son. I already come to grips with what happened, bro. That don't. You think you're going? That don't make sense, bro. I already came to grips.
That's why I'm laughing, because I'm like, you somewhere on the rock country.
I'm not threatened.
Yep. You just gotta laugh at it.
Bro. You're younger than my youngest child, man. Sometimes you take too much of that shit. You know what I mean? You come down off this. It'll be all right.
When I first saw this situation unfold, I honestly didn't think it was going to escalate this far. NBA YoungBoy suddenly started dropping back-to-back diss tracks, first taking shots at Future, and it seemed to come completely out of nowhere. I heard the record, but at the time I figured I'd wait before reacting because it all happened so fast. Then, before anyone could really process that, he came right back with another diss aimed at Gilly, this time rapping over the classic Boosie and Webby Swerve beat. That's when things took a serious turn. A clip surfaced showing YoungBoy dancing with his family while delivering a line that referenced Gilly's late son, and that instantly changed the conversation. The moment I heard it, my first thought was, how did we even get here? Because at some point, this stops being rap competition and starts looking like unnecessary disrespect that serves no real purpose. It makes you wonder why an artist with YoungBoy's talent would choose to go that low instead of letting the music speak for itself. Now, before anything else, rest in peace to Cheese, Gilly's son, and prayers to everyone still carrying that pain. Losing a loved one is something no family ever truly gets over, and what happened was heartbreaking from every angle. My condolences go out to Gilly, Wallow, Cheese's mother, his siblings, and everyone close to him who continues to deal with that loss every single day. That's exactly why Gilly's response stood out to me. Instead of matching disrespect with more disrespect, he stayed calm, stayed composed, and refused to let emotions take control. I actually respected that because it showed people that sometimes the strongest response is refusing to sink to someone else's level. He basically made it clear that he's already accepted his reality, he's focused on healing, and he isn't about to let another man pull him into negativity. While someone else chooses the low road, he chose to move with maturity. And whether you agree with everything or not, that's a message a lot of people can appreciate. What really has me confused is how this relationship even reached this point. YoungBoy and Gilly have sat down together before, and even though there were rumors about things being misunderstood after that interview, it never looked like the situation had reached this level of hostility. On top of that, I could have sworn we saw YoungBoy and Wack 100 appear to smooth things over backstage at an event not too long ago. So when you look at everything that happened before, this latest diss feels even more unexpected. That's why so many people are asking the same question right now. What actually happened behind the scenes to make YoungBoy come to Gilly like this? Because once you bring a man's late family member into a rap beef, the conversation changes completely, and that's exactly why this controversy has everyone talking.
Sir, yes sir, yes sir. We can't go. Oh, that nigga. Yeah, it was.
How you feel about life today? How I feel about life today, just to be honest with you, bro, it's difficult. You know, I just lost my son. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you know, I appreciate that. I struggle every day. You know what I mean? My son was a year older than you.
When I look at this whole situation, the first question that comes to mind is how did it even get this far? At what point do artists stop and say, you know what, I'm not crossing that line? Especially when there hasn't been that kind of personal damage between them in the first place. Gilly never took someone YoungBoy loved, never mocked one of his deceased family members, and from everything we've seen, YoungBoy never had any issue with Gilly's family either. That's why this feels so unnecessary. Sadly, taking shots at the dead has become far too common in today's rap culture. But this time, I'm seeing a lot more people speaking up and saying, nah, that's out of bounds. Sure, every artist has loyal fans who will defend anything they do, no matter what, but somebody still has to bring a balanced conversation to the table and say this simply isn't something that should be normalized. Don't get me wrong, I can enjoy drill music, and yes, NBA YoungBoy has plenty of records that I genuinely like. I respect the energy, the melodies, the flows, and the way he puts songs together, because there's no denying his talent. But the moment a track turns into disrespecting someone's deceased loved one, that's where I completely check out. That part adds nothing to the music for me. You can keep the production, the cadence, and the performance, but leave the attacks on grieving families out of it. I've never believed that kind of content was entertaining, and I don't see myself ever changing my mind on that. The reason is simple. When you bring up someone who's no longer here, you're not just trying to hurt the person you're beefing with anymore. You're reopening wounds for parents, siblings, children, and everyone else who loved that person, and that's a different level of pain altogether. At some stage, maturity has to take over. YoungBoy isn't a teenager anymore. He's older. He's experienced more. He received a presidential pardon, and he just wrapped up a highly successful tour. That's why moments like this leave people asking whether all that growth is actually being reflected in the music, because fans expect more when an artist reaches this stage of their career.
You niggas ain't people. Man, you niggas ain't no gangsters. That's why y'all can walk around the states like that. Say, Pluto ain't no gangster. Dude don't run around without no security, especially not more than me. My boy, I just watch y'all. I just watch the world. It glorifies the most and dumbest ever went on I ever.
At this point, you really have to ask yourself what's actually going on here. YoungBoy isn't some underground artist struggling to get noticed or someone who has to create controversy just to stay relevant. He's one of the biggest names in hip-hop, selling records and pulling massive numbers, which makes this whole situation even more confusing. One minute, the message is about growth, peace, and moving forward. Then the next minute, he's taking shots at people who aren't even here to defend themselves. That's where I have a problem. I've supported plenty of artists who make aggressive music, and I'm not pretending otherwise, but disrespecting the dead has never been something I can co-sign. No matter how good the beat is or how hard the song sounds, that line just doesn't need to be crossed. To me, going after someone's deceased loved ones doesn't prove you're fearless or untouchable. If anything, it just comes across as unnecessary disrespect, and there's a huge difference between being bold and simply being out of pocket. Then you look at the situation with Future, and it leaves even more questions than answers. Future had just dropped a new project, so naturally people started wondering whether there was a real issue between them or if this was something else entirely. I'm not saying Future had anything to do with it, but from the outside looking in, there wasn't an obvious reason for that diss in the first place. Now you add the situation with Gilly on top of it, and people are left wondering whether all this controversy is really necessary. What makes it even harder to understand is that YoungBoy isn't in the middle of the streets fighting to keep his name alive. He's overseas, his career is already established, and he's accomplished more than most artists ever will. So when you step back and look at the bigger picture, the strategy just doesn't seem to make much sense. That's why I felt this conversation needed to happen. Whether people agree with me or not, I'm always going to stand against turning deceased loved ones into punchlines for entertainment. But that's my perspective. Let me know where you stand on all of this, because this debate is far from over, and we've definitely got a lot more to talk about.